Now, why am I at one of the world's most famous restaurants? Well, it's because of their coffee program. They recently started roasting their own coffee, and in addition to that, converted one of their greenhouses into a coffee shop, bringing a point of accessibility between the public and this world-leading restaurant. Let's go in, meet with Caroline, a friend of mine who runs her coffee program, and learn a little bit more about this program, and hopefully inspire other restaurants to take more seriously their coffee. Let's hop in and grab a coffee now. Sweet Caroline. Ba, ba, ba. You probably get that all the time, but I'm sorry, you got it again. Hello, how are you?
Every day.
What did you bring me today?
I brought you a little caturra.
Nice.
From a farmer called Luis Ortega. He's a second-generation organic farmer in San Agustin in Huila. And I just love his coffees. They have this like light floral thing going on.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm super excited to learn more about Noma's coffee program today. But first, could you tell us how you got into coffee and how long you've been working here?
Yeah. Well, I've been working here for the last 7.5 years.
Okay.
Head of the kind of tea and coffee program for the last 6 or so.
Okay.
And I came here like as a quote-unquote coffee person, yes, but I was also like interested in everything.
Sure.
I was working for like a wine importer in Germany at the time. Had a really wonderful boss who let me travel quite a lot, so I would visit a lot of winemakers and farmers and coffee roasters and cafes. I was just interested in everything. And so I saw Noma as like this place where I could test all of those interests and see where I like naturally landed. A couple of years ago, well, actually it was Tim who asked us
Tim Wendelboe.
Yeah, when the hell are you going to start roasting for yourselves?
Oh, yeah.
And so for the last couple of years, I've been researching for that and building this project. And now, I mean, my official title is now Creative Director of Noma Cafe. So my responsibility is to source coffee, to roast it sometimes, to serve it sometimes. Yeah. When I arrived here, I arrived as a coffee person, and I stayed as a coffee person, even though at that point we weren't necessarily roasting our own coffee, because I really saw the opportunity, like, if I were to ever do a coffee project with anyone, let it be here where I would be held to that standard.
Of course.
And of course, we worked with Tim, and that was, of course, amazing. That's actually how I found out about Noma, because Tim worked with them. I thought if any restaurant were to do an interesting coffee program, it would be this one, right? It's not this this attitude of, well, we're Noma and now we're going to do coffee. It's more like, well, I'm making myself a student, asking a lot of questions, learning from the supply chain, and hopefully by way of this direct collaboration, we can uncover new opportunities and new ways to serve coffee as well. We've got the plan.
What?
We've got a plan. Coffee was almost like closing the loop. It was the last ingredient that we didn't have like a direct relationship to. I mean, we've had like the same relationship with the same asparagus farmer for 22 years.
Sure.
So for us, it's about really deeply understanding all of the ingredients that we put on the table. And when we're able to do that, we're able to uncover new opportunities to collaborate with our supply chain as well, to make new things happen as well.
Absolutely.
I think what was interesting about starting here was to really see how much input was, how much effort was put into the coffee program, and how important it was, and how like big the coffee section was, and to meet Tim and to really like think about like all of the coffee and tea thought here. So that was a big learning curve for me. And then about 4 years ago, I took over the actual like the responsibility for all drinks here.
Okay.
We started the roasting program, and we did the travels together to do the sourcing. And this is really where, for me, it started to really click to see like what are these things that we have in common with the wine world, because almost to the annoyance of the people that we were with. We were, we were traveling a long time, so we were in the car a lot, and I kept saying, so in the wine world, and I found myself continuously saying that. It was interesting because this was in Colombia, and the person that we were traveling with at the time knows actually quite a lot about wine and also a lot about the wines that we serve. He said that he used to find the comparisons that's often made between coffee and wine maybe a little bit boring or a little bit cliched. And what we started talking about was very much more the idea of what we are looking for is the sourcing.
I hope that what we can do as a roastery, and if we succeed at what we want to do, it's to be sensitive to this and to uncover new opportunities that feel authentic at the same time. It's not about simply asking a farmer to do an extended fermentation or a co-ferment. It's about working together to figure out what makes sense for both parties, right?
Go to bed at like 7 a.m.
Start thinking about the sourcing and the agriculture and, maybe popularizing, like in the natural wine world, it was so much popularized, I don't know, but like part of it, very big part of it is the care of the vineyard and, like thinking about the variety and what grows best where, and also giving it, like not giving it any chemicals to help grow. So this was something that we were interested in to what degree can we make this part of the specialty coffee world. So this was a lot of thoughts that were going through as we were going into sourcing our own coffee.
Oftentimes we think of fine dining as like you've got your top button done up and you follow a very rigid set of rules. And when you follow the rules correctly, you've done a good job.
Sure.
But a lot of what we do is about reading people. It's about reacting to them. It's learning who they are and then tailoring our service accordingly. As we approach coffee, it's about applying this sensitivity to this supply chain. Obviously, the needs of a producer in Mexico are going to be way different to the needs of a producer in Colombia.
Sure.
And understanding those nuances and listening very hard is, for me, very important. And when you collaborate in this way, you can start to identify opportunities. But it's also why we focus primarily on, for example, washed coffees, because we are right now trying to evaluate the quality of green in multiple origins, multiple varieties, and trying to build the whole supply chain from scratch, right?
Sure.
And you've met us, it's me and Alistair right now. So that's also why we try and edit what we're doing so that we can be really focused and really build that in a solid way.
So how many origins are you currently working with?
5.
5 origins.
Yeah.
And are you planning on expanding, or is that just kind of where you're wanting to stick with for a while?
It kind of remains to be seen.
Yeah.
It depends on how the team grows. For now, at least for the next 12 months, I'm focusing on these 5 and trying to make them as solid and as substantial as possible. At the moment, we're trying to open ourselves up. We're trying to reach people where it matters in their homes. A subscription is a really good model for us because it allows us to create a very clear structure. So in a moment where we're building a supply chain and building relationships within that, it allows us to have a very clear picture of how much we need to buy.
Exactly.
As Noma, when you launch something new, sometimes the initial interest can be really disproportionate to what the genuine interest is. So this sort of limiting ourselves, building the framework, allows us to do things in a bit of a controlled way where we can, be responsible to the people we work with.
At the level you want to execute at.
Exactly, yeah. We, as a roastery, needed a space where we could work with our coffee on a daily basis in a much more involved way. It's like when we have coffee service at the restaurant, it's more or less an hour worth of coffee service every day.
Sure.
An intense hour, 100 cups an hour, but 1 hour. It's not enough to get enough information, right? But beyond that, coffee is there to be shared.
Yeah.
It's really simple, isn't it?
It's like
really?
a natural evolution.
Yeah.
More than anything. Was that the plan from the beginning of the subscription, or was that something that came later?
I think no one was really sure how it would go. Mm-hmm. And quickly it became clear that no, we can do this. Mm-hmm. I think the coffee shop was just a really natural evolution. But the whole greenhouse, I mean, there's a tasting room for all of the ingredients that we make for the restaurant as well. So it makes sense that we have a place where we can serve the beverages that we work on as well.
Now, it's no secret I'm a massive frickin' foodie. I absolutely love delicious food. I love ridiculous over-the-top platings. I love crazy experiments within gastronomy, whatever it might be. And a lot of these restaurants that are offering that up tend to spend a year sourcing the right butter or a few months growing their own vegetable in order to make the perfect pairing. But when it comes to coffee, usually that's the thing that's just not paid attention to at all. Which is really interesting because not only is it the most complex beverage on the planet, but it's also the most unique economic situation. There is a massive inequality from end to end, and a lot of these restaurants like to focus on being as direct as possible back to the source. So it's kind of a sad reality that most restaurants have absolutely trash coffee. And what I mean by that is they'll be using pod coffees. You'll sit there and get a delicious dessert, and the coffee that comes with it is gross. It's not something you want to drink. So it's really exciting to see a restaurant, especially as prestigious as Noma, taking up this, mantle in order to really further their goals, which is to shorten the distance between them and origin with everything that they're serving. And obviously, coffee is one of those things.
We will always have a very lighter roast coffee. This is something that we like, we drink, we roast. But when we have the last dish of the menu, this is something that is that we taste with the barista. We taste it with Tsubasa. I used to taste it with Caroline, and then we think about okay, what would be nice in coffee-wise and what would be nice tea-wise. Mm-hmm. So tea is something that we can actually really quite make much more of a different kind of choice.
Sure.
When it comes to coffee, we are a little bit connected to what is available, what have we been purchasing. Exactly. But we can still adjust a little bit to what we feel is the nicest pairing. We're not looking for very experimental flavors in our coffee. Mm-hmm. Just really nice coffee.
Yeah, familiar and comfortable.
Yeah, for us familiar. Maybe I guess for some people it's not so familiar, but this is something that we feel is really a really nice black cup of coffee. Yeah. That is where we kind of base our coffee pairing on.
In a service situation, of course you bring Noma, you bring the menu, you bring a beverage selection, you bring a curation, but ultimately the guest brings the other half of the experience. Sure. And you have to react to what the guest is giving you. This is a really important part of our service style.
The art of pairing is, for me, also very much about texture. Mm-hmm. So this is something that you can play with a lot in coffee. Oh, yeah. And there's really things that work and don't work. Exactly, that sort of cancel each other out. Mm-hmm. And we've seen this also a lot in tea. For instance, we had this realization years ago that if you have a dish that has a lot of acidity, you can have a tea and it can have so much flavor or can have so much expression and so much beauty. Especially we do a lot of cold infusion teas, that it does not work together. It just it becomes flavored water. So pine was for us a difficult one to work with. Chocolate is much easier. And also what was quite easy and what works so well, which is always nice, is we do a lot of things with saffron and cardamom. This is just always a magical sort of connection to
those
coffee.
With coffee?
Yes.
Okay.
Delicious.
To me, it's kind of more interesting to discover new flavors and to collaborate to create more variety with existing partnerships than to just work with many, many, many different people. Yeah. And right now it's just me sourcing green. So, have to do it in a clever way, right? It's funny, right? Because I think some people assume that because we started roasting coffee, that means that we believe that all restaurants should start roasting their coffee. I think do your best and be honest about if you've done your best, right?
Yeah.
So that might mean roasting coffee if that feels right to you, but it might mean having a close relationship to a roaster that has the relationship to origin.
Sure.
But everything that we can do to, to shorten that gap, I think it has a lot of value, because the more that we humanize the supply chain, the better our lives get, the more interesting our lives get, but also the better the lives get at origin as well. Working in a fine dining context, it's a team of 100 people who every single day try to be the best that they can possibly be at something. And being around that environment is frankly incredible. And I think the primary reason why I didn't just dip out and work in coffee in another way, I'd never experienced that before, where, it's such a diverse group of people, 24 nationalities, coming together for this very, very basic principle.
High five.
Oh, I did not see that coming.
Was it too hard?
No, it was brilliant.